JinPingMei Original Version Chapter 82 Chen Jingji makes a double. While Pan Jinlian is enthusiastic and cold. Speaking of Pan Jinlian and Chen Jingji, since they succeeded in the wing room, the two of them have tasted the benefits, stealing the cold day by day and providing warmth at dusk. Some lean on each other's shoulders and laugh, some sit side by side flirting. They pinch and tug at each other, all without fear. Or someone is not allowed to speak in front of him, so he writes down his thoughts, twists them into pieces of paper, and throws them on the ground. If you have something to say, tell me, and I will tell you something. One day, in April, Pan Jinlian wrapped a piece of silver sweater on her sleeve in a gauze sachet, which contained a strand of hair and some pine trees. She sealed it properly and wanted to give it to Jingji. Not wanting Jingji not to be in the wing, he opened the window and threw himself in. Later, Jingji entered the room and saw that the seal was very thick. When he opened it, he found a sweat towel and sachet. On the paper was written a word called parasitic grass. Send this silver silk handkerchief and the sachet to his slave. I had black hair at first. Songbear wants you to always care about you, and write words of love sickness with tears. The slave shadow under the lamp in the middle of the night has no need to wait for the fight in the middle of the night. In his speech, Jingji asked him to wait under the tea frame for a private meeting. Then he sealed a golden fan written by concubine Xiang, wrote a word on it to answer him, and slipped it into the garden. Unexpectedly, Yunyang was sitting in Jinlian's room, unknown to Jingji. He walked into the corner door and called out, "Is Qi at home?" Jinlian heard his voice, and Yunyang was afraid that she would break up after hearing it, so she quickly opened the curtain and walked out. Watching him waving his hands, he pretended to say, "I wonder who it is." It turns out it's brother-in-law Chen who came to look for the eldest sister. The eldest sister was here just now, and she went to the garden pavilion with him to pick flowers. When Jingji saw Yunyang in the room, he secretly handed the things to the woman and went out. Yunyang asked, "What is brother-in-law Chen doing here?" Jinlian said, "He came to look for eldest sister, and I went back to the garden with him." This is how to hide it from Yunyang. After a while, Yunyang got up and went back. The golden lotus was taken out from the sleeve and opened. It turned out to be a golden bamboo fan of the Xiang concubine. On it was a kind of green cattail, with half a stream of water. There was a poem from Water Fairy. The purple bamboo and white gauze are very carefree, and the green cattail is skillfully made. Gold hinges and silver coins are very wonderful. The beauty is worthy of use. She can cover the scorching sky and attract the wind. There are always people with sleeves on their sleeves, but there are no people around and they are slowly swaying. Stop teaching the common people and see that they have stolen it. When the woman saw his words, at night when the moon was rising, she sent two girls, Chunmai and Kyuju, some wine to eat with him, and locked him up in the Kang room over there to sleep. Then, in his own room, with the green light half lit and the red candle burning high, he tidied up the bed, quilts and pillows, incense and bathed his wife under a separate wooden incense shed, waiting for Jingji to come and attend the wedding. Sister Ximen happened to be invited by Yunyang to the back that night to listen to Mrs. Wang's announcement. Only Yuang Shuier was in the room. Jingji gave him a handkerchief and said to him, "In the guard's room, I will go to your Wu Niang's place to play chess. When the eldest girl comes in, you come quickly." Yuan Zhao agreed. Jingji succeeded and walked into the garden, only to see the shadow of the moon sifting through the flowers, with uneven reflections. When I walked under the tea curtain stand, I saw a woman taking off her crown, holding up the dark clouds, and quietly standing alone under the wood incense shed. Jingji suddenly stood out from under the tea curtain and hugged the woman with both hands. The woman was startled and said, "Bah, short life." Suddenly foreign affairs came out and I was shocked. If it were me, you could just hug me. If it were someone else, would you dare to hug me? Ji ate half-heartedly and said with a smile, "I hugged you a long time ago, but I hugged the matchmaker by mistake. There is nothing I can do." The two then hugged each other and entered the room hand in hand. There were lights and candles in the room, and wine and food were set on the table. The corner door was propped up on one side, and they sat side by side drinking. The woman then asked, "Come here. Where is the eldest sister? Jingji said. The eldest sister has gone to listen to the announcement of the scroll. I will pay for the Yuan Shao. If you call me here for something. I just said I would play chess here. After that, go up and laugh. After drinking for a long time, there is a saying that a romantic tea makes a match, and wine is a matchmaker for sex. Unexpectedly, bamboo leaves penetrated the heart. Peach blossoms appeared on the face. One mouth made a blind date. The other cheek touched each other. The lamp was covered, and they went to bed to have sex. There is a short poem from 6 Niangzi as evidence. When you come to the entrance, you will be held in your arms by slaves. The slave stretched out the brocade quilt, and his pretty enemy was very naughty. Hey, lift the slave's feet. Lifting her feet, she messed up the dark clouds and her bun was crooked. The two of them had just finished talking, and they heard Yuan Shao calling the door and saying, "The eldest girl has come into the room." Jingji hurriedly got dressed. Exactly, crazy bees, waves and butterflies are sometimes seen, but they fly into the pear blossoms and are nowhere to be found. It turns out that there are 3 upstairs rooms on Pan Jinlian's side, with Buddha statues in the middle and raw medicines and spices piled on both sides. From then on, the two of them were deeply in love with each other, and they were as close as each other, and they met each other every day. It was a busy day. Pan Jinlian dressed up in the morning and came upstairs to burn incense in front of Guanyin Bodhisattva. Unexpectedly, Chen Jingji was taking the keys upstairs, opening the warehouse door to get herbs and spices, and bumped into him. This woman did not burn incense. When she saw no one upstairs, the two of them hugged each other and kissed each other, smacking their lips. One called her "kiss my 5 mothers," and the other said my heart is short-lived because she said, "Let's do it here while there is no one." Stop. While taking off his clothes and trousers, he stood on a spring bench with his hair flying over his shoulders, his spiritual roots half entranced, and he was very prepared. It was no coincidence that the two of them were doing a good job, but Chunmai was coming upstairs to pick up a box of tea. The two Minatos were at a loss as to what to do and were both taken aback. Chunmai was afraid that he would be embarrassed, so she quickly turned back and walked down the ladder. In a panic, Jingji didn't have any clothes in his pocket, so the woman put on her skirt and hurriedly called Chunmai, "My good sister, come up here and I'll talk to you." Then Chunmai walked upstairs. Jin Liang said, "My good sister, your brother-in-law is not someone else. I want you to know it now. We are in love and cannot be separated. You must never tell anyone. Just keep it in your heart." Chunmai then said, "Good mother, tell me what you were talking about. In these years of servitude to my maid, don't you know that my mother's confidants are willing to tell others?" The woman said, "If you are willing to cover us while your brother-in-law is here, you can also come and sleep with your brother-in-law. And then I will believe you. If you don't want to, it's just because you don't want to see me anymore." Chunmai's face turned red and white with embarrassment, so she had to obey him. "Take off your Hunan skirt and tie your trousers, lean back on the stool, and do your best for this young man. There is such a thing. It's true. The pearls are priceless, but Tan Lang can get all the diamonds. There is evidence from red embroidered shoes. He pretended to be a son-in-law and was close to him, but he went back and forth with his mother-in-law. There is a lot of evil hidden in the favor. They openly talk about the etiquette of children, but secretly form a relationship with Yanying, and the two of them are together now." After Jingji and Chunmai finished playing, everyone just laughed. From then on, Pan Jinlian became a family with Chunmai and secretly made a secret appointment with this young man, not just for one day, but only with Ju on her back. On the first day of June, Grandma Pan's old illness disappeared, and someone came to tell her. Wu Yunyang bought a table with 3 animal sacrifices, and taught Jin Liang to sit in a sedan to visit the funeral and offer sacrifices. She went there and came back. The next day, the 3rd day of June, Jin Liang got up early, sat in Yunyang's room, talked for half a day, walked under the wall in the hall and courtyard, and urinated in a hurry. She was lifting up her skirt and squatting to urinate. It turned out that Ximeng King had died. No one came and went, and the ceremonial door in the waiting hall was just closed. Jingji lived in the east wing, and when he got up, he suddenly heard the sound of someone urinating on the wall. He quietly looked out the window, but didn't think it was him, so he said, "Is that the one who is acting wild and urinating here? Lift him up. Your clothes. Your skirt is soaked with water." The woman quickly put on her skirt, walked to the window and asked, "So you are in the house? We just got up now, so comfortable. Isn't the eldest sister in the room?" Jingji said, "In the back. When will you come out? Last night I didn't go to bed until the middle of the night, and my aunt pulled me behind me to listen to the Red Luo Baojuan. I sat there until we were late, and my waist almost broke from exhaustion. I couldn't get up today." Jinlian said, "If you are a thief, don't lie to me. I was not at home yesterday." "When did you come to the upper room to hear the announcement? The maid said that you came to have dinner in Ming Sanara's room yesterday." Jingji said, "My eldest sister has been watching me for a long time. I'm always in the upper room. How often do I come and go in his room?" As he said this, the young man stood on the king and made his words hard and erect. A stick came through the window. When the woman saw it, she couldn't help but laugh and cursed. "The strange thief held me tight for a short time, but he suddenly pulled out your head, which scared me. You take it in as soon as possible, and I can prick you with a needle. I'll teach you how to endure the pain," Jingji said with a smile. "Your old man doesn't want to see him get up this time, so you can at least give him a benefit, and it's also a bit of a shame on your part." The woman scolded, "What a strange prisoner." She took out a small bronze mirror from her waist and put it on the window lattice. She pretended to even her face and looked in the mirror, while she wrapped her red lips and sucked his lips. The words, smacking the young man, gave him a little inspiration, and he was filled with the joy of spring. Just as she was in a busy place, she suddenly heard the sound of someone walking. The woman quickly took off her mirror and walked aside. Jingji took those words back. "But I didn't expect that." The young man coming to Anna came and said, "Fu Daling is going to invite his brother-in-law to dinner." Jingji said, "Teach you Fu Daling and eat while I comb my hair. Lai Anna is back." The woman then quietly said to Jingji, "Where are you going in the evening? I'll ask Chunmai to call you in the house. Wait for me if I have something to say to you." Jingji said, "I will follow my destiny." After the woman finished speaking, she went back to her room. After Jingji finished washing himself, he went to the shop to do business on his own. No question, after a while, it became late. That day, the moon was dark and the stars were dense, and the weather was very hot. The woman ordered Chunmai to boil soup and hot water, take a bath in the room, and trim her toenails. I packed the quilt and pillows on the bed, drove away the mosquitoes, put down the gauze curtain, and burned incense in small seals. Chunmai called out, "Mom, it's my head fall today. Don't you want some impatience flowers to dye your nails? I'll find some for you." The woman asked, "Where are you looking for it?" Chunmai said, "I can only find it in the big yurt over there. I will pull out a few roots. My mother taught Kyuju to find a pestle and mortar and pound the garlic." The woman whispered in her ear and quietly told Chunmai, "Please invite your brother-in-law to come to the side room Wangxi, and I will talk to him." Chunmai was gone, and the woman was in the room, washing her skin and trimming her toenails, which was a good time. I saw Chunmai pulling out a few impatience flowers, and Kyuju was pounding them for a long time. The woman drank and ate with him for a few more minutes, then sent him to sleep in the kitchen. The woman's fingers were dyed with spring onions under the lamplight. She ordered Chunmai to put a stool in the patio and spread it with a quilt and pillow to enjoy the coolness. About midnight, I saw Shuhu silent, the jade rope turned low, and the two stars mourning ox and weaver girl were separated on both sides of the Tianhe River. Suddenly I smelled the fragrance of flowers and a few fireflies. The woman held a fan in her hand and lay on her pillow to wait. Chunmai kept the corner door ajar. "Exactly, wait until the moon is under the west wing, and the door facing the wind is half open. The shadows of flowers on the partition wall move, and it is suspected that a beautiful lady is coming." It turned out that Jingji had agreed to call the Yaomujin Hua, so he knew he was coming. When the woman saw the swaying shadow of the flower branches, she knew it was him coming, so she coughed in the courtyard to greet him. He opened the door and came in. and the two sat side by side. The woman then asked, "Come here, who is in the room?" Jingji said, "The eldest sister didn't come out today. I have given Yuan Xiao children in the room. Please call me in advance," because he asked, "Is Qiu sleeping?" The woman said, "She is fast asleep." After saying that, they hugged each other, and the two of them sat on the bench in the courtyard, naked, and had sex on the table. So lingering, but see, love and happiness are in harmony, holding the shoulders and touching the cheeks. The hand-twisted incense feels as soft as milk, which is really amazing. Lift up your feet and take off your embroidered shoes, revealing your beautiful body. The tongue opens with cloves, and the phoenix fills the luan with clouds and rain. I asked the talented person, "Come early tomorrow morning." After the two had finished, the woman took out 5 taels of silver, handed it to Jingji and said, "Grandma Pan of yours has died outside the door, and your father has left the coffin for him. When he was buried on the 3rd day, your aunt taught me I went to look for the funeral paper. There will be a funeral tomorrow, but your aunt didn't let me go, saying that your father was still here and could only go out. These 5 taels of silver are handed over to you, and I ask you to go to the door tomorrow morning to send them to you, Grandma Pan. Send them to carry the money and watch it fall into the ground. When you come home, just go with me." Jingji took the money with one hand and said, "It doesn't matter. I will go out early tomorrow to finish my work and come back to your old man's house." After saying that, he went back to the wing long ago for fear that the eldest sister would enter the room. One night. No more questions. The next day, I came home during dinner time. Jin Lian just got up and combed her hair in the room. Jingji came to reply and went to Zhao Hua temple outside the door and brought two jasmine flowers to the woman to wear. The woman asked, "Has the coffin been buried?" Jingji said, "What do I care about? I don't want to send him away. The gold has been put into the cabinet." I dared to say something back. "There are still 2, 6, and 7 coins left. Give them to your sister for collection. I'm going to spend my days in trouble. Thank you very much for your kindness. I'll pay you a lot of attention." When the woman heard that her mother was buried, she shed tears. Then he called Chunmai and said, "Dip the flowers in the cup, watch the tea and have it with your brother-in-law." After a while, 2 boxes of steamed cakes and 4 plates of side dishes were presented, and Jingji was sent to have tea and go forward. As a result, I became closer and closer to this young man. One day, it was a July day, and the woman made an appointment with him early in the morning. "Don't go there today. Just wait in the room. I will go to your room and play with you." Jingji agreed, but unexpectedly Chui Ben invited him to play outside with a few friends that day. One day after I went home, I came home very drunk, fell on the bed and fell asleep, not knowing what the heavens and the earth were. At dusk, Jin Lian suddenly came to his room and saw him standing upright on the bed. She pushed him and couldn't wake him up, so she knew he had been drinking there. But suddenly, he didn't want the woman to touch his sleeve, and hung a gold-headed lotus petal hairpin with 2 characters on it. "Golden horse neighs in the grass, and the people in Yulu are drunk in the apricot flower sky." Yingliang took a look and recognized the hairpin of Meng Yulu. Why did it fall into his sleeve? He must be related to Yulu. Otherwise, how could he have the hairpin on his sleeve? It's strange that in this short life, he has been ruthless and cruel in front of me several times. If I don't leave a few words with him, just say I didn't come. Wait for me to write 4 lines of poetry on a wall to let him know. When I see him, I will slowly ask him about his whereabouts. So he took a pen and wrote 4 sentences on the wall. The poem says, "I am still asleep in Dubu's study, and the goddess is under the witch cloud in vain." Prince Xiang has no emotions, and he has failed to live up to his love. After finishing writing, the woman went back to her room. But he said that Jingji woke up from a drunken sleep and held a lamp in his room, because he remembered that the woman came to meet him today, but I was drunk. Looking back, I saw 4 lines of poetry written on the wall. The ink was still fresh. After reading it once, I knew he had arrived and Kong went back. I feel very regretful in my heart. It is already watch time, and the eldest sister and Yuang Shu'er have not come out yet. If I go to him, the corner door will be closed again. Walking under the hibiscus flowers, waving the flower branches as a signal. If you don't hear the movement inside, you can't help but step on the Taihu stones to cross the white wall. The woman saw that he was drunk and could not sleep until he was drunk. She returned to the room with great hatred and felt depressed. So she got naked and slept crookedly on the bed. Unexpectedly, he climbed over the wall in the middle of the night and saw that there was no one in the courtyard. He thought that all the maids were asleep, so he quietly walked to the door of the room. When he saw that the door was ajar, he walked in. The moonlight shines through the window and I see a woman leaning in on the bed alone. She calls out in a low voice, "It's lovely." She responds several times and says, "Don't blame me. Brother Chue and his friends have invited me 5 miles outside the door today." The man in the village had been playing with archery all day, and he was drunk when he came home. "I didn't know you were here, and I broke your promise. I apologize for my sin." The woman ignored him. Seeing that he ignored him, Jingji panicked and knelt on the ground, repeating the words over and over again. The woman glanced at her face with her backhand and cursed. The thief has ruined his heart and his life has been short-lived. He didn't do it quietly. The girl heard it. "I know you have someone, so you don't take me to heart. What are you carrying today?" Jingji said, "Brother Kuatukurostis. I got drunk handfuls. Don't bupsada fintes. I saw you having palamdans, so I knew was absudi." Thuman said, "You area troublemaker Commandant single quotes TTALK to me Commandant single quotes TTALK to me. Velagosiomacquindrans, and he can't let them out. You era drunk to daquabasea sasea. Come home, huerdos the shiverifionary?" Jingjai said, "Ipicata dupenthadent, tor 3 days ago." Thuman said, "You rest ilmacainter. Did you pick a tupuntarand? Only a few piculabalantari. Then a sherpanisha fentantiaria fife. I believe it is true. Wanzan, there I still hisnan. And you are still a colics me. I wasna therathadari. And he skidia with torrenten. And iternadutha weventarianen. Yaskaju, but you still refused it. You didn't tell Tom. That woavi had slantus. How did isherpentarinti? Iternadatha fafala faler. Hesmold one has stera westum. Iternadatha wear torters. From now on, Yuri on DM. Mung Beanskin please withdraw. After Jingjaherdis. Hacker said the Gadoflablism. And then Crete, I, Jingji, and Herinspribble. The spirit is Dongajayaki. He will not livatori, and Huilberborbwibub. Boils, which causalaphorophystes, require soperthintons, and watereth thurtherinter. Thewamanfinality dalid. You resa thief. Yel sager hadathiak. Buchoudent minenti. That wochata foral. Sing that it a wastel. Tonic olden filtefendant. That emanterneterocrati. Ignoring him, lesting hisses turgerinter, and just Luke dar aquindix. Jingjawaso forgetorid, and suffered fromala glalalic. At dawn, Jingjawas sofrandentant. Exactly. Huokan bikunaquit werited. Everything has aspalisteries.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.